Assalamu alaikum guys. David Miller. Now I know he sounds like somebody who wears a Mr. Bean blazer.
Thank you very much. Anything else?
And has very long nasal hair. But au contraire, mon frère, it's quite the opposite.
Zionism is a form of racism. It's an ideology which has been used to justify the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians.
That's a genius.
In fact, he is a professor, or was a professor, of political sociology at the University of Bristol. That was until he decided to actually practice what he preaches and grow a backbone. Now that is not something which is allowed by politicians, journalists and academics, because we don't do that nowadays until it is within the paradigm of the government and the social structure we're living in. In other words, he decided to speak against Islamophobia.
But they also have to encourage the idea of the radical Muslim, and that the Palestinian opposition is not a national liberation movement. It is instead, it's radical and Islamic.
And of course, Zionism. Yes, that's right. The two kryptonites of the Western world.
I'm sorry about that, but Zionism is an ideology which in my view is a racist ideology, and we should be campaigning to end that ideology.
We all know that the Zionist lobby is quite powerful here in the West, and for 3 years, alongside the student unions in the University of Bristol, they've been working tirelessly to get rid of Dave.
The QC's report, which was commissioned by the university, and which the university said had concluded that none of my comments were unlawful, actually went further than that, and it said explicitly that my comments were not anti-Semitic and would not engage the Equality Act 2010 in any way. So,
in fact, they amassed petitions. Yeah, one of them got 9,000 and the other one got a measly flipping, it hasn't even reached 900 yet. But it was the false accusation of anti-Semitism that finally seeped through the gaps. When ironically, he didn't criticize the Jewish people at all. In fact, he criticized Israel. And this is a problem that we see nowadays, that criticizing Israel is being conflated to criticizing Jewish people, which I would say that this is anti-Semitism. But even if we were to push that to the side, it does raise 3 questions. Yeah, namely the first one, what happened to freedom of speech, mate? Secondly, do students now have to worry about offending Grandma Israel as well as paying their £27,000 in fees? And will this encourage students to join this pathetic university? If you're in the mainstream and you want to stand up for certain causes, it's got to be within the acceptable societal framework. Yeah, you got global warming, LGBT, and of course you got women's rights, but this is conditional as long as it's the Muslim women, yeah? But of course you won't get them talking about the Uyghurs, yeah, in China, the Kashmiris in India, or even mainstream Muslim population in India now as well. And of course Palestinians. It was a breath of fresh air to see somebody like this stand up for such people, especially in this day and age. But as if this legend hadn't done enough, when he was asked, what do you think is going to happen in the future? Here's what he said.
What does the future hold for you?
Future for me is that I will continue my work on Zionism. I will intensify my work on Zionism.
So guys, videos like this, and of course I started a petition, yeah? There's been petitions going around the school for academics, but there's been none for the general public. So I started one today, mate, yeah? This evening, and flipping in a number of hours, mashallah, it's already crossed 1,500, yeah? So I'm going to put the link in the description. I'm going to put it in the featured comment as well. Guys, spread it. Why? Because we want to put across 3 main messages. Number 1, the hypocrisy of freedom of speech. Number 2, that it is not okay to fire someone just because they're defending Muslims and defending the Palestinian people. And number 3, quite simply, for fee-paying students to take their money elsewhere. Yeah? There's no point going for education when the education you're going to get is warped. Yeah? just so they can please Israel and give you flipping a warped education and leave you in, was it like £28,000 a year in debt. It's ridiculous, mate. Yeah. So respect to this professor. Let's leave it there, guys. Until next time. Assalamu alaikum.